evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Arsenal 101 Premier League end of week start of week forum, where we go over events that have happened over the past week, and we talk about the fixtures coming up for the coming weekend in the Premier League, and also European football scene, as it's going to be quite heavily present in terms of what we've just seen in the last couple of days and coming in to the next week. I'm here tonight with Drew. How you doing, Drew?
Yeah, no, good man. Good man. How about yourself?
Pretty. Like that.
Last night shredded your nerves a bit, did it?
Welcome, 18. We will be joined later by Bertram. He's running a little bit late. He's got some late work. I know he's messaged us from New York to say he's going to get in as soon as he can. And hopefully Andrew will join us as well. But yeah, it's been a tumultuous 2 weeks. What we've had the Super League coming and going as quickly as it came. Then we had literally coming to what we call the business end of the season. And we saw the first trophy given out for the season at the end of last week. Tottenham and Man City fought for the, I think, what's that competition called nowadays?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm still going to call it the League Cup. I don't care what name they give it. It's the League Cup. It's always been the League Cup. I've never seen anyone walk around drinking a can of Carabao energy drink. Therefore, it is the League Cup. If it was called like,
so
this is the thing. Call it the Monster Cup or something. Red Bull. It's an energy drink that no one drinks and no one's heard of. Like, not even the little chavvies where I live end up drinking it. So it makes no sense as to what the hell it is.
Okay, so I mean, let's start off with that, because obviously, first bit of silverware in what was originally looking like it could have been a quadruple season. Then a couple of weeks ago, Chelsea spoiled that party. But how does it feel? Talk about your, that has to be commended.
I'll be honest. It was nice to win a trophy, as always. It's always good to win a trophy. There was a slight tinge of disappointment to it, though, and I think I speak for Andy on this one a little bit. It was like playing against a practice squad. Like, Spurs didn't show up to play any game, whether it's because they're so disjointed with all the change going on there, whether the players have lost confidence because of what happened with the Super League. But Spurs seemed completely disinterested in actually playing that game, which, yeah, it was great for City, because it meant that we didn't have to exactly play our best game.
Yeah.
But it almost felt hollow, which it sounds almost condescending to say it because it's a cup final.
Yeah.
But there was no real effort from one team in that game, and it was disappointing.
Disappointing from my point of view. I mean, I saw the second half. I didn't watch the first half. I very rarely like to watch the other noisy neighbours from North London, but
yeah.
I thought I think something was going on last week, and I managed to catch the second half, thinking, well, it's the first major bit of silverware for the season. And the second half, as you said, was pretty non-event, really. It wasn't anything to write home about.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people going on about the fact that Laporte could have been sent off in the game. Yeah. And I watched every minute of it, and yeah, to be fair, there's two definite yellow cards that Laporte could have got in the space of 10 minutes.
Mm.
But if the referee had booked him the first time, he wouldn't have made the second tackle anyway.
Okay.
So it's kind of one of those things of, well, he could have been, but I don't think as a centre half in the world that's stupid enough to make the same challenge twice if he's already been punished once.
Yeah.
So and anything that people are grasping onto with the Laporte one, it's kind of like, well, blame the referee for trying to keep 11 players for both teams on the field at one point. But
yeah, and to be honest, look, we're going to look at when we get to the end of the season, we're going to review everything on the season, and I guess I'm going to preempt that conversation by saying a game which the referee hasn't spoiled is a rarity nowadays.
Yeah.
Because every week we seem to see something that's getting overlooked, should have been looked at, didn't get looked at, or has been looked at and misjudged, because the people who are sitting in the VAR offices are, to all intents and purposes, video referees. So Greg G is saying it was good to watch for a neutral. It was definitely a red, but credit to Man City. They made it look like PSG were playing with 10 men for most of the second half anyway. So he's talking about the midweek game.
I can't wait till we get into those ones.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, and if we do a quick review of last week's game, I don't think there was many big games. Obviously, Arsenal kicked the weekend off with a Friday night fixture, which we lost to Everton. I mean, as an Arsenal fan, we're having our end of season failure. We do up and down. 1 week good, next week bad. 1 week good, next week bad. And right now we're in the bad mode where we can't win a game. We've lost 2 on the spin, 1 at home, 1 away. We're woeful at the moment in terms of scoring goals. Patterns of play, defensive, frailties, poor judgment by the manager. So we were probably the better team, but we got done by an absolute woeful piece of keeping, which basically gave Everton a game which they're just going to take and go, well, look, we've waited 25 years for that, which is the length of time it's taken them for them to win a game against Arsenal away. So yeah, that was just a terrible game for us in terms of result and the way in which we played, because one thing is clear, we don't seem to be scoring goals from open play at the moment.
I can't fathom what's even wrong with Arsenal at the moment. It's like to be respectful of them. I mean, this is a team at less than 20 years ago were the Invincibles.
Yeah.
Like 20 years ago, when you had players like Henry, Overmars, Vieira, that team was absolutely breathtaking. We haven't even gone through a whole generation of change yet in the Premiership. And I cannot for the life of me work out what has happened to the Arsenal mentality, the way that they play now. It just seems so alien to watch them.
Yeah, I mean, it would take more than 1 hour to go through all the things that have gone wrong in the time. But I would say that the catalyst for change at Arsenal was selling the stadium. Moving from Highbury to the Emirates has been a disaster. In my eyes, it has caused a ripple effect of catastrophic circumstances in terms of ability to buy players, buying players, form on the pitch, change of manager, more bad form on the pitch, back office changes in terms of who's in control, who's managing the club. So I'm not going to go into it because we haven't got enough time on this show. But as I said, the catalyst for me with most of the changes was moving from the old Highbury. What else happened over the weekend? Obviously, as we talked about, Man City beat Spurs. The only memorable result was, for me, Liverpool drew, because the reason I remember it is one of our players who could have been doing such good stuff for us, Joe Willock, scored a last-minute goal to equalise with Newcastle, who we play on Sunday. unfortunately, they won't be able to play Joe Willock because of obviously he's the lone player, or should I say, fortunately. But that was one of the games from last week. Aston Villa drew with West Brom. I'm always keeping my eye on Aston Villa because they're very much in and amongst the picture 8, 9, 10, 11. And they were playing a team that contained Ainsley Maitland-Niles in West Brom. That ended up a 2-2 draw, 2 penalties, and what looked like a pretty entertaining Midlands derby. Any games or any comment on those games from last week?
To be honest, the one that gets me, I've been massively critical of Newcastle all season. I don't understand how Newcastle are a Premiership team. I think they're lucky that there's 3 teams that are clearly worse than them in the Premiership at the moment. But they could have come away with 3 points against Liverpool. They easily could have walked out with a win in that game. And do you know what? It would have been the first time I'd have given a lot of credit to Steve Bruce for a result, but they worked their socks off. They outplayed Liverpool probably for about 60% of the game. The rest of it was quite a neutral game, to be honest. They just took the sting out of Liverpool. So I was a little bit shocked by that. One game that did stand out to me, though, over the whole of the weekend was probably the Leicester Palace result.
Okay. That was the Monday night game, wasn't it? 2-1 to Leicester. Yeah. Iheanacho magic.
Yeah, now I've got Iheanacho in my dream team.
An assist and a goal.
Yeah, it was wonderful from that point of view. Also wonderful because he may have left City 5 years ago nearly, but
of course.
Still our boy.
Still
one of the greatest youth products that we produced in the past 30 years, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So criminal that we could not find a space for him. But when you got Aguero, I suppose it does make things a bit more difficult for a young striker.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I thought Leicester probably was one of the better results of the weekend all round, and also just clamped their grip down on that third spot, which for them absolutely massive.
Yeah. And interestingly, Leicester are playing, or that game's probably finished right now. I know it was in the last 5 minutes. It was 1-1, wasn't it? At last time I saw. Did that finish 1-1?
Finished 1-1. It was a weird second half with Vestergaard sent off.
Okay.
Normally I'd have been backing Leicester to get all over them and take them apart at that point, but they just didn't seem to be able to do it. So, but great result for Southampton though as well.
Yeah.
So the thing is, no one's going to fall into the relegation battle at this point now.
Yeah.
The teams that are going down are already down.
Brighton are the closest, and they've got a tricky fixture this weekend. But I think the bottom 3 are going to be the bottom 3. Welcome, Bertram.
No, my name has changed, actually. Don't you see my name? You can't call me Bertram anymore. I refuse to go by that name. That is a name I got from the UK. My standing is either down or up, depending on where you sit. If I'm in the US, it's up. If I'm in the UK, I'm a piranha. So you have to be, I'm no longer Bertram. I'm changed my name. It's like you change your name to a Muslim religion. I'm in the Cronkies corner. How are you guys doing?
Oh dear. So Bertram, we've gone over pretty much most of the games over the weekend. Have you got anything to come in with any of the games from last week? Obviously, we talked about the Carabao Cup. We talked about Arsenal's game against Everton, Palace against Leicester, and Liverpool against Newcastle, where Joe Willock scored an equaliser.
Yeah, I mean, I watched all the Newcastle games because Joe Willock is one of my favorites, frankly. Even though a lot of people don't like his game, but I like his game, and I think he'll do well over time. And he has scored 4 goals, which is more than all our midfielders probably combined, I think, in the Premier League, which says a lot. And by the way, 3 of those goals came in late. So if you think about when he came on against Liverpool, against Spurs, he didn't start those games. So to come on and score late, so he's been like a person who the coach, the manager values to come on and score as a midfielder. You got to think about it. He's not playing a 10 either. He's playing in the 8 or somewhere in that region. It's phenomenal, actually. So, Kuke, we did okay. I'm not a fan of the Giants or Rocky. We can get to that. We did okay. I'm just trying to say Kuke's comment here about the Giants. We did okay. We traded back for some reason. But I'll say this, though, is that I thought we'd talk about the Champions League games, Europa League games, Super League a little bit.
That's where we're going.
Okay, yeah. Okay. And then we'll talk about upcoming games for the weekend. So, no, that's good. That's good. That's good. But no, I mean, look, Leicester, I think, is solidified its position. And I asked myself the question is, why can't we be like a Dortmund or a Leicester? Because their model is, I buy low, I sell high, and I maintain a competitive team. We're not going to win anything anytime soon. We still generate more revenues than Leicester does. So why aren't we getting the scouts that they're getting, buying the Fofanas of the world? You know, those players, some of whom have been linked with us, right? And they buy from the Championship and they buy from the French League. And they also will go out in Belgium if they see someone with talent out there. So why aren't we using the same model versus trying to buy high? And all our buys are poor in terms of return on our investment. So we could talk about it all night, but I am Stan Kroenke, so I'm going to change. We're going to change what we're doing as Arsenal. We're going to change what we're doing. We'll change the model. The current model is not working. We're going to change the model. But no, nothing more in the game so the weekend pass.
Let's move on to the Champions League because that's we start with Chelsea. Actually, they kicked off the Champions League with a great game on Tuesday night. You know, they were up against the formidable Real Madrid, a game that was blighted by weather. They seemed to be starting in daylight, and then all of a sudden they were playing in like torrential rain.
Yeah, they probably thought they were playing in the UK without the torrential rain, given all the rain that was out there. But I'll say this though, which is, I thought Chelsea has done really, really well since they changed managers, like exceptionally well. They're hard to beat. I mean, they've beaten City, they beat Atletico Madrid, they played well against Real Madrid, and should have won that game easily, frankly, if their center forward learned how to put the ball in the net. Like, Tony, if you and I miss those goals on a Sunday, we'll get crucified, and probably shouldn't play another game. So it amazes me that he starts every game. His speed helps, but his goal scoring has been atrocious.
Yeah. What was your feeling on it, Drew?
So there's 2 things at Chelsea to be really positive about if you're a Chelsea supporter right now. When it comes to playing staff, one of them is Mason Mount, and the other one is Pulisic. When those 2 are on song, they're absolute brilliant. They are at times. They're proper footballers. I can't rave about them enough. But then you've got Timo Werner playing that role, going through he's not the player I thought Chelsea were buying. Not at all. I knew that he played out on the left a lot in Germany. I knew that he came in to score a lot of his goals. I kind of expected that he would convert a few more opportunities than what he does. And I think Chelsea done brilliantly to beat Real Madrid. But if that was a proper centre forward, I think they could have run at 3 or 4, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So I think
totally agree.
I'm hoping it's not opportunity missed for Chelsea as much as anything. I'm hoping that they still go through, regardless of any of the missed opportunities. I think they will.
Would you rather play Chelsea in the final, or would you rather play Real Madrid in the final? That's what I'd say.
Yeah, so
knowing Real Madrid's history in this competition, Think about that.
Ramos back.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Any other round of the competition, we've got Real Madrid. I think any other round, I think we beat Real Madrid, and I think we beat them well. Playing them in the final, with their history, their confidence when they get to major finals, I don't think we beat Real Madrid. But at the same time, out of every team in the Premiership, the one team who I think are genuinely well equipped to take City on and beat them is Chelsea. So, whichever way it goes, I don't think it's good news for City, whoever comes from that side, to be honest.
Okay.
So I'll go for an all English final.
Yeah.
Just to be a little bit patriotic for a change.
So I'll say this. Actually. Go ahead, Tony.
Thank you. I mean, my views on Chelsea are, I think they're a lot more than just the two players you mentioned. I think they've got huge qualities in abundance, and I think they're the closest team to yourselves, Man City, in terms of depth of squad. Because I look at their bench and I just think they can bring on 4 or 5 players. Remembering you can have 5 subs in Europe, and they can all be world-class players. You know, which I don't think. Yeah, I mean, even Liverpool, I don't think have that depth of team.
No,
they don't all play up to their values.
Sorry, yeah. The thing I'd say about Chelsea, they've got Ziyech, who he's very much like Mahrez in terms of what he does for them. And you can go through 90 minutes of the game thinking he's been anonymous, but he's got that one piece of quality that can just take a team apart instantly.
Yeah.
He's not the fastest, but he's skillful and he's got vision in the same way as what Mahrez does. But he's probably got more of an eye for goal.
Yeah.
So Chelsea line up to City's starting 11 incredibly well, but then their depth is just as scary as well.
Yeah. But I mean, in terms of just sort of finishing off the review of that game, I mean, you know, I'm actually a secret Real Madrid fan. I have been since I was about 6 years old, when Laurie Cunningham used to play for Real Madrid, and I used to visit Madrid on a regular with my family. You know, look, Benzema is just that competition is just him. You know, he's alive in that competition. You know, I mean, he's alive in the Liga, but you know, in the Champions League, you know, only 2 players are better than him in goals scored. I think he's now overtaken Raul, if I'm not mistaken. And he just represents such a huge threat for Chelsea next week in the corresponding fixture, and if they should make it through in the final. But I mean, it was an entertaining game. I found it interesting. You know, as I said, I think Chelsea are deep. They've got deep threat in terms of they can score goals from anywhere. You know, their defenders are just as good at scoring goals as their attackers. So that's me and my view on that game. I guess that moves us on to Wednesday night.
I mean, it was probably the best Champions League game of the season. I don't think would be overselling it in any way, shape, or form to say that. What I'm not going to do, though, is I'm not going to fall into the trap that probably about 99% of City fans have been falling into, that I speak to on the social media platforms on a regular basis. Now, a lot of us are heralding how dominant a performance it was. Okay, second 45 minutes, it was. We got into Neymar's head, we wound him up, we threw Mbappe off his game completely. I think he only had 1 touch in the opposition half and didn't register a single shot on target. Well, a shot on goal in the whole game, which is the first time in his career that that's ever happened to him. So great on that perspective. But if PSG were more clinical, we could have been 3 down at half time. And quite frankly, the way we defended in the first 45 minutes, we deserved to be more than 1 down at half time. Our 2 goals, we deserved them, but the one was an absolute cock-up by Keylor Navas, where he couldn't deal with a cross, because it was never a shot that De Bruyne put in at him. And the second one, we got lucky with the PSG wall just splitting in 2. So it was a great performance in the second half, and I won't take that away from my team, but we also rode our luck massively in that 90 minutes of football. So there's still a lot of work to be done in this game. We've obviously got 2 away goals, so we should progress. But PSG will be a different team on Tuesday night. So whilst I'm happy with the result, I'm going to keep being a cynical City supporter for another 90 minutes, I think, because I'm not convinced yet that we're through. It's just a toe in the final at the moment.
Bertram?
I wasn't impressed by City.
Yeah, but you're never impressed by City.
But here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing what I'm finding interesting about the game. City plays a normal tiki-taka football, right? Tiki-taka football, dominate the possession, no end product. The 2 goals were a joke. The goal that he kicked off is guys, think about it, it's a cross that should be saved by the keeper. He misjudged what to do, is wait for the person to head the ball, didn't want to commit himself. It's a joke. The second goal, the wall caved, right? Person move out the wall going to go to goal. It shouldn't have scored. Any other place you slap that player, probably frankly, but Dest did the same thing for Barcelona. I forgot who they played. They did the same thing. Get out the wall, the ball scored. The ball should have scored. So the 2 goals were joke goals. They weren't real goals. So where they didn't miss a lot of chances. The goals shouldn't have scored. It was a joke. You could dominate position all you want, but create chances, then I'm impressed. I wasn't impressed. They had the ball. What chances did they create? And secondly, 2 goals you scored, shouldn't have scored. No way under a pub team it shouldn't have scored. So I walked away saying Guardiola's done the game. What he needed in the game was some speed on the outside. I know Sterling has been playing well, but he needed Sterling out wide to create more opportunities. You were getting knocked down the flanks, and he wasn't creating the width that you need, that he normally likes to have, get the ball in the middle to score. I sat there thinking, I wonder Arteta learn from you to panic when you come to knockout games, because it really wasn't good management, I don't think. You guys may be happy about how you did, but if you play that way in the second game, PSG is going to beat you. PSG, on the other hand, I'm not sure what they were doing. Mbappe, he played like a prima donna, lazy, doesn't play any defense. That's why he can't. Neymar will go get the ball in his 18-yard box. What does Mbappe do? Stand out there, does nothing. When they don't have the ball, he does nothing. When they have the ball, he moves when he feels like it. He plays like a prima donna, and that's why his team is struggling, because he was doing much more like Neymar was doing, maybe in a better place. Go get the ball, play with Neymar, and try to get behind the defense. City is vulnerable because they play high. You get the ball behind City, and you see how they struggle. A couple of times he got behind them, and they struggled. So I sat there watching the game thinking, I hear all these larger comments on City, and I'm thinking, that's why Chelsea beat City. The false 9 doesn't work. And we proved
they've beaten us once, though. We will.
Saying the false 9 doesn't work. If Aguero was there, it'd be a different story. A fit Aguero is a different story. You probably scored 3 or 4 goals. Because you dominate the ball, he'll create space and he'll score. You're not getting chances. Where's the City that was scoring 5-4 goals throughout the season? They have dried up with the false 9. And I sit there and hear me getting loud and getting anxious here. I'm just thinking, what am I watching? You're not creating chances. It's all great to win, and it's a great thing, and dominate possession, but it got to be an end product. And you play that way against Real Madrid in the final, because they may beat Chelsea, no matter what happens, if the midfielder is old, it may be a different outcome. Look, when you have the ball, the other team can't score, and I agree that wholeheartedly, and that's brilliant on City's part to keep the ball. But Drew, you tell me, how many chances are you creating since you went to the false 9? Not many.
We've become more efficient with our chances.
Yes, that's true. But you know what? You need
But
Klopp
yeah,
to score five.
we
You need Klopp to
have
score
gone
five.
from 30 shots a game on average in the 18-19 season, which was ridiculous, to about 10 shots a game at the very peak now.
Yeah, and look, think about the 2 goals you scored against PSG. I'm telling you, it wasn't
They were lucky goals. There is no denying they were lucky goals.
And they got chances in the first half. And what would normally happen in that game is if they had scored their 3, you'd have to take more chances, and they would get more chances. So what is happening? You could play your normal slow-mo game because you only done 1. You still need to get another goal back. You're playing away from home. You only need to tie 1 and go back home. So my hope is that Guardiola will stop over managing, and he's still doing it, even though he's supposed to be the best manager in the world. He's still doing it, and it frustrates me. And we'll get to my manager.
I would still say he is probably the best manager in the world at the moment. There's no manager that's got the consistent results in the past decade that he's got everywhere that he's been, and that's the thing.
Yes, that's true.
Only real manager that could really compare with that over the past decade would be Jurgen Klopp for what he's managed to achieve at multiple clubs and in different leagues.
Yeah,
other managers have found success in one league, but not in multiple.
One thing also, Guardiola's had the most resources as a manager, which allowed him to be successful. Pellegrini was successful. Mancini was successful. So I don't get caught. And if you go to Bayern, when he left Bayern, they won the Champions League. So you look at his history. I'm not saying he's not a brilliant manager, but he's had the resource, and he's been very smart about what jobs he takes. He's not a Jose looking for the next job because nobody probably wants him. He takes the jobs he believes going to have the resources to get the players he wants to be successful. And that's a smart manager. But Klopp has done more with less than Guardiola has. That's my view.
Well, I guess I'm going to split the difference. I guess, I've got on one hand, Drew, who's going to champion his team and say, what a well-disciplined performance away from home. And then Bertram, who's totally disappointed. But, look, it's an entertaining game, football. Right now, we're happy to just be able to watch football, even though we can't be there in person. So it does present games like this where you go, was it overall an entertaining game? And I have to say, without doubt, it was an entertaining game. I admire Man City. There's no doubt about it. I admire Man City. Do I think they would be a much better team with a real striker? 100% in agreement with you on that. I don't understand the false 9. But as you said, Drew, and to back you up, they're economic in terms of goals to shots ratio. And if you want to doubt the effectiveness of it, just look at their goals scored in the Premier League. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but that was most of the goals were before the false 9, actually. So look when they were playing Jesus.
They though?
The false 9 came in after we lost 5-2 to Leicester. That's when we switched to using the false 9.
And you still scored a good number of goals.
Well, this is the thing. We win a lot of games 2-0. There's no denying that. We've become a bit of a Jose Mourinho team in. We score 1 or 2, and we then just sap the life out of the opposition. It's not as entertaining as what City have been in the past, but it has become effective. The main thing that's benefited, though, from switching to using the false 9, we flood 6 men into midfield all of a sudden. Teams can't break us down and penetrate so quickly through the midfield. At the moment, not having a centre forward is making Rodri look like a much better player because he's not getting overrun in midfield like he was 12 months ago, which is going to be a worry with Werner leaving at the end of the season, because in those tough games where we need to have 2 deep line midfielders and we do need a man up top as well, we're only going to have Rodri in a year, this time next year. So yeah, we're going to have to think of a genuine solution around that problem at City, because as it stands at the moment, the main benefit of the false 9, it's not going to exist in a year. So
Yeah.
But it is helping us out more defensively than going forward.
Yeah. I guess you're right in that. If Pep wants something this summer, he's gonna be getting a striker. That's got to be for sure, because with Mr. Aguero leaving, then that's got to be the biggest priority for your club, without a shadow of a doubt. So yeah, I agreed. The false nine will probably be a thing of the past by the start of next season.
Yeah, and I also thought that game. The last point I make, Tony, is that I'll make one point actually. In that game, you weren't taking on the wing back, beating the wing backs, the fullbacks down the wing to create those opportunities. That because Foden wasn't doing that in that game, and Mahrez somehow, for some reason, wasn't doing that as much as he normally does. So I thought it was interesting in terms of why wasn't that being pushed in the game, which then forced PSG to go out to have double help outside, which then create more room inside for you. Because you only clog the middle up, you got to create more room to get more. Huh?
We let Kyle Walker go on the overlap several times, and that's when City looked at their best. Is when Walker proper went down. Of course, against Baka on the left hand side. Well, down City's right and down PSG's left. That's when City were at their most effective. I think it led to what led to both goals really. Problem down the left though is I really like Cancelo. I think he's a phenomenally gifted defender.
He was awful.
Yeah, he's not left-footed, and that's the problem. But Zinchenko is left-footed. But Zinchenko is god-awful. And that's the problem. The lad can't defend, and he doesn't look up to pass the ball. So
and what happened to what's his name?
Pick your poison at left back.
No, what's his name is no longer a viable option from Monaco. What's his name?
Yeah, no.
Mendy's not an option.
I was going to say I don't know what happened to him, but I think it's 2 ruptured ACLs that's done it for him, really.
Okay.
But he's never going to get back to the player he was in 2016, which is sad. Because in 2016, he looked like a world-beating left back, and potentially the best left back in world football at 21.
I mean, he was a beast.
Yeah,
real strong. None shall pass. That was the kind of phrase.
And his crossing is exceptional.
It's the way that Monaco team took City apart in the Champions League that season. He was phenomenal. Mbappe was phenomenal. They literally just took apart every good thing about City and just laid it to waste with pace and power. And then as soon as we signed Mendy, left knee goes. Gets back to full fitness. Right knee goes.
There's been a couple of comments about targets for City. Foden is unreal. Yeah, absolutely right, Christopher King. I love Foden. And I'm like yourself, as much as I love Saka, Foden is phenomenal. But my question to you, Drew, is very quickly. Name the player who you think you're most likely to get as a striker, and who would you choose?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think we're probably going to end up getting Danny Ings. I mean, there's a lot of money going on at the bookies at the moment. So, yeah. No, the player I think City should go for, break the bank for him. I don't care about financial fair play. No one does anymore. You spend the money and go for Haaland. I mean, it could be 180 million pounds really poorly spent. But you're going to have at least 5 or 6 years to find out whether it's going to be poorly spent. But I don't think it would be. I think he is going to be. He's that generational player, I hope. Yeah. So I don't care where he goes, really. But if he goes to City, I'd love to see what he can actually do in the Premiership.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so now we move on to Thursday night Europa League action. Last night we saw... Well, I didn't watch the Man United game, but obviously Man United spanked the bejesus out of the Roma team, despite going ahead, then falling back behind 2-1, and then eventually running out with just goal after goal after goal after goal. So they've pretty much got one foot already in the in the final, barring an absolute miracle. But more importantly, we've got Arsenal against Villarreal. First game was played in Villarreal, and well, what can I say? I'll let you go first, Bertram, shall I?
Okay, so I'll say a couple things. One is we should have gotten beaten about 5. I'm not sure what Emery was doing. We were beyond awful. My rant and rave was about my manager, who is from the Pep school but didn't go to class. He sculled class because he was clueless. So he followed Pep and played the false 9, but his 4 top players, his number 10, his 2 wingers, and his other false 9 player, so his 9 is 10, between them haven't scored 20 goals all season. All 4 of them. They played over 100 games. Right check. All 4 of them combined haven't scored 20 goals. His midfielders don't score goals. I think Xhaka has 1. No, Xhaka's playing left back. Ceballos may have 1 or 2, and Partey is a defender because he kicks the ball in the stands every single time. So we don't really score goals, right? Partey's shot are clearance by a defense, even though I heard he has a good shot, but he lost it at Atletico. So here's a couple of things. One is the formation was wrong. If you're going to play the way you play, maybe play 3 at the back and put Xhaka in midfield. If you play the way you play, none of those players are goal scorers, so why aren't you playing with a striker? You had Aubameyang on the bench. I don't care how you played him, so that means he could play. Nketiah on the bench, Martinelli on the bench, and you're playing a bunch of midfielders up front. Saka's a very, very good player already, but he doesn't score goals. He has 5 goals all season. Pepe doesn't beat players anymore. He's afraid to lose the ball. He's been under instruction, so he never takes he's bringing the left back or right back on, so he doesn't beat them anymore. He doesn't score as much. Odegaard has scored 1 goal, and I think Smith Rowe scored 1 goal. So what are you thinking? And then the worst part of all of this, the worst part by a mile, is that we saw during the first half, Foyt from Tottenham running past Ceballos. He can't run and run past Ceballos. He can't catch him. He has the ball running. He can't run, and Ceballos can't catch him. That's okay. He got a yellow card. You're down 2-0 at halftime. You're really struggling. You need a lift. You make no changes. Ceballos is out of his depth. He gave away the game against Benfica. We should have lost twice, by the way. He almost gave the game against Olympiacos. He's not up to snuff. I know he had a couple of games subsequent to that and was decent, but the game is running by him, and you put him on the second half. The first part of the second half, he kicked the player in the shin. Should have gotten a yellow. Plain yellow, no discussion. But the referee probably gave him a blind to say, you know what, I'm not going to send you off, so let me let you go. And the manager still sat there with like a deer with headlights doing nothing. He's on the sideline, jumping up and down, doing absolutely nothing. And then Ceballos, obviously, going to make a mistake. It wasn't deliberate, but he got his second yellow. So now you're down to 10 men. And I'm sitting there, and he says in the post press, well, it's plan to take him off having Gabriel warm up. What? You had half time to have people warm up. What are you talking about? So I was on board for him to have another year. I'm sorry. He's inept. He's incompetent. He's not up to the job. He's not up to the job. I'm sorry. He's not up to the job. We're 10th in the league. We should have been doing much better against the games. That was my final game to say, you know what? Your mismanagement is off the chart. It's not even a tinker here, tinker there. You're just really atrocious. You're poor. You're beyond redemption. It cannot be redeemed. No matter what you do from now on for me, you're not up to snuff. I'm sorry. If you win the Europa League, you're still not up to snuff. You gotta go. He won't go because Kroenke, is that what I have my name on tonight? We won't let him go. We'll keep him for another year because you want to spend the money. You want continuity. He's making change. And I was buying into the process. I still think he's not done well. I'm buying into the process. You know what? As Tony called it, get rid of dead weight. Get rid of those players who are not doing well. Finish the job this summer to get rid of the rest of those not doing well. Bring in your own players. Try to redeem some people who cannot be redeemed, and let's move forward. But I'm telling you, after Thursday's, forget about the performance, the game management, the best game management Thursday was a referee. He sent Ceballos off. So therefore, he can't play the next game. If you want to play him, he can't play. So we're saved from that debacle. I'm sorry, El Nene may pass backwards, but I prefer to pass backward and keep the ball than running around like a chicken without a head. I know how I'm doing. I don't want to be harsh to somebody else. He wants to go to Real Betis. Go to Real Betis. Go play football at Real Betis. But please leave our team. Because the manager doesn't know how you manage you. He doesn't know how to manage himself. I am beyond... I was so upset. My nephew see me being upset. He said he can't hear you. I'm going to the TV say, change him. Change him. And he said he can't hear. I don't really care if he can hear me. I am beyond upset. So my final word is that I don't care if we win or not now. I just want him to get out of the club. He's a waste of time. I don't care anymore. I'm just beyond having people who can't manage themselves, can't manage anything, managing my team. Whether it's the Cronkies, whether it's Arteta, whether it's Edu, they're not good enough. None of them are good enough. But they're not good enough. You can't even get a Super League right. We should talk about Super League. You can get. I was glad for the Super League. I was hitting the table saying, Arsenal fans, you have no sense. Forget about your morality and your whole traditional English soccer. We want to be relevant again. We can only be relevant with Super League. Without Super League, I don't know why City want to get involved, because you guys are doing well. Why you need a Super League? You already have oil-rich money. We need a Super League. We are desperate for a Super League. All you Arsenal fans out there creating wave about protesting, you are idiots. You have no sense. You have no acumen up here about what you want in your club. Nobody was campaigning about Abramovich bringing in his illicit money for Chelsea. I didn't see any campaigns in the street bringing money that's not his into football. Why am I going to complain about a Super League, which is legal money? My team get to be relevant. I get to play the best team. I can buy the best players. I have no problem with that. It's not an American view. It's a smart view. I'm done my ranting, Tony. I'm done ranting.
Okay. So, on behalf of the 99.8% fans of football across the globe, I wish to apologize on behalf of my learned colleague across the water in New York, the Arsenal fan who was known as Bertram. Look, he's very passionate about his business model and the fact that a Super League would be fantastic for Arsenal. And he's absolutely right. It would be fantastic for Arsenal. And to a degree, I have to have some sympathy with him in that Arsenal being the 9th richest sport team in the world, the 3rd most watched team in the world, we deserve, for what our contribution is to football globally, we deserve something above that which we are currently kicking with. However, Super League, as it was mooted, was not the answer. Super League at some point, I'm not averse to change, but the way it came across was very condescending, very derogatory to the fans, and needs to come back with a better bit of packaging for me. I want to address the young man in the chat, Christopher King. You made a comment about Arteta is working on a shoestring. I want to throw that fallacy in the bin. Arteta has got one of the richest squads in the Premier League. He's paying stupid money for players. He's got players sitting on the bench earning £300,000+ per week and not even listed in the squad. Yeah, that's the guy who is working on a shoestring. So I'm sorry to say, if you feel that Arsenal haven't got money, you just need to look at the 3 strikers, the 3 players up the top. Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe. The sum total of those 3 guys is more than any other team in the Premier League. Yeah? When you have players sitting on a bench earning 200 grand, you know, and yesterday, Willian comes on for 1 minute and 8 seconds. I know he's taking home an extra 20 grand in his wage check for the week now. Yep, I've done my appearance for the week. There's an extra 20 grand in the check. I'm like, what the? Yeah, you get where I'm coming from. There's money being thrown into this club by Kroenke. The problem, and I made this clear in the one-on-one forum earlier, is mismanagement of the club, as I alluded to Drew a bit earlier. Since we moved from Highbury, we've fallen apart in so many ways, but most of all, back office. Because what is going on with people's contracts is beyond a joke. It's beyond the word is incompetence of the highest order. What they're doing in regards to people's contracts, where we can let players like Ramsey, Cazorla, you know, all these players there's just so many players who've left our club for zero. Ozil. You know, players are leaving our club, costing us 30, 40 million, earning 300 grand a week, and leaving the club with zero return. And that is not Stan Kroenke's fault. Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. His job is to put money into the club. Now, admittedly, he's not putting any of his own money, but there's money. Yeah, I'm hearing people when I'm saying like, yeah, we want a sugar daddy. We want someone to pump loads of money in. But what's the point? If you've got a rich billionaire pumping all that money in, and these idiots behind you are going, yeah, let's buy this piece of crap from some wayward backwater, and let's pay him 300 grand. And no more, look at Arteta in what he's doing with Saliba, Guendouzi, Torreira, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Joe Willock. 5 players who could really be doing a job for us right now. Yeah, 5 players that could be doing a job for us. Yeah, even I'm gonna count him, Kolasinac. What fucking idiot puts your one and only left back up on loan when you've got one left back in the club? So what you have to do is, in the most important game of your season, you have to take your centre midfield defender, who can't really defend, but is a comfortable player in his one nominated role, and you have to put him out of water in the left back role and say, do a job. Oh my God. So I don't care what you say about Kroenke not delivering money, but when you do stupidity like that, the blame lies at the door of no one else but Mikel Arteta. Incompetence, incompetence, incompetence. Substitutions are the worst. Week after week after week after week. It's just an absolute pain watching Arsenal just flop, and he doesn't introduce players who can do stuff, who can actually make a difference in the team. How a player, Reece Nelson is gone this summer. Somebody's going to inherit a reasonably decent winger there. Yeah? Somebody is going to inherit a very reasonable player there. Eddie Nketiah, he's got to be gone. He's got to be gone. And I know he doesn't endear himself to many fans, and probably is not what we're looking for. But matter of fact that you're playing the most important game of the season and you need goals. And this guy is a designated striker. He ain't nothing else but. And he has bags of energy. At the very least, for 45 minutes, give him a chance to run around, cause mayhem, and try and nip on the end of something. But no, this clown has got other plans. He's going to reinvent his team for the most important game of the season. I hang my head in shame, and I've finished. I'm done with him. I'm finished with Mikel Arteta. I am completely, utterly lost for words now. Can't say anymore. Drew, what's your feelings?
Before you talk, Drew, I'm going to say this, Drew. Let me say this, which is, on this panel, you can tell whose team is doing well and whose team is not doing well. If you were just to join and watch us, you can tell whose team is doing well and whose team is not doing well. It's not hard to figure out. Go ahead, Drew. Go ahead, Drew.
Right. So, and here is the thing with Arsenal right now. I do not understand how they can be so bad so often, yet spend so much money. It literally makes absolutely no sense to me at all.
Beggars belief. Oh, we've lost Drew.
We lost Drew, but look, I think Drew is sort of substantiating what you said, Tony, which is the fact he said we spend so much money and we're so bad. And as you have said, Tony, it's mismanagement, financial atrocious management. All these people saying about we spend a fourth less money. How much money does Leicester spend? What Leicester's able to do is, you know what, buy low and sell high. They ain't gonna spend a ton of money in their team. Buy low. Man U has a lot of commercial revenues to spend. We're talking about how much money people spend. Man U makes more money so they can spend more money. Let me see how much owners have put money in their pocket. We're talking about four lowest spending. Drew, you're back with us. Go ahead, Drew. Sorry. We're here ranting again. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I actually do have rants about the way things are going with Arsenal. And there's the problem at Arsenal that I can see, because we've had this at City over the years. The most recent time was 2008 under Thaksin Shinawatra, before we got the oil money coming. There are three levels to making a club bad. There is the owner, there is the management, and there is the playing staff. If an owner doesn't want to fund the team properly, you're not going to succeed. And Kroenke, to a level, doesn't want to fund the team properly. He wants to try and play the Moneyball system at FSG use over at Liverpool, which, fine, fair enough. Moneyball is proven to actually be a successful way of running a franchise sports model. Whether it's the correct way to run a football team or not, FSG would suggest that it definitely is. You assign the values, you buy low, sell high. If there's an exquisite player, say it was the NBA, there's a LeBron James out there or something, you go all in and you pay what it takes to get that player. Kroenke hasn't had that moment yet, but it is hard to attract a top quality player when you're meddling around with 6th, 7th in the table at best, which that's where the manager then becomes at fault. And it's not just Arteta, it was Emery before him as well. They've not been able to motivate the playing staff that you do have to get you into serious Champions League contention. Arteta did inherit some absolute chuff in his squad. There's no denying that. But he's also not added anything better than what was taken away from the squad or what was already in the squad. I mean, if anyone wants to explain to me how a 33-year-old Willian is still earning over 200,000 a week, I do not give a toss that he was a free transfer. Even if you're going to apply the Moneyball theory to it, you would not pay that money on him. There is no way in the world that over the course of a 3-year contract for a guy that's 32, he becomes worth that money, whether you pay an upfront fee or not. But then the other problem I do see with Arsenal, outside of all of that, is I don't fully understand who's running transfer policy with the club. Is it Edu? Is it Arteta? Is it someone else who the Kroenkes have hired? Because most teams have a sporting director who deals with all of this kind of thing now. I'm not a massive fan of sporting directors, but if they get it right, like has happened at Liverpool, happened at City, it's not a bad thing to have one. But as far as I can tell, Edu's not having the final say on what's coming into the club, but is Arteta having the final say? They're just, it doesn't gel whatever's going on behind the scenes at Arsenal. quite honestly, if Kroenke has to sell up, you also do need to get rid of Arteta. You need to get rid of Edu. You need a total rebuild from the ground up, quite frankly, because there's so. I mean, this is what I was saying to Tony earlier. I can't work out for the life of me what the problem is. Which, I mean, logically would only suggest that the problem is at every level of the club now.
Yeah,
which is sad.
There's a couple of things, right? So if you get rid of Edu again, we just got rid of Gazidis left, we got rid of Sinelli. You can't keep changing and chopping, right? So you gotta give people at least what I say about 3 years to be able to settle in, put their imprint on the organization, to then be able to say, you know what, we have a strategy, we have a long-term plan. Let's break it up in bite-sized sizes and execute against it. The problem I see is that the people who you've put in place, you always pick the wrong people. Like, this is like an interview process. We come into my company, interview for 30 minutes. I only have 30 minutes to make a decision. I have no idea about their history. You have much more time to assess quality in the football environment to make an informed decision about who you hire. It's not like you interview, you don't know the person, you only see their resume. It's a whole different story. You see them, you see how they operate, see what players they buy over the year, what decisions they made, how they plan out, how they do scouting, how they do recruiting, how they make investment decisions. You have all the information at your disposal, and then you select poorly. And now what has happened is it's become perpetual. It's a continuum. It will never change because you're going in the wrong direction. We're going in the wrong direction. We go from first to second to third to fourth to sixth, now 10th. At one point in the season, we're thinking about, you know what? Is it possible to get relegated when we have the highest price forward line in the league who don't play well together? You should not have bought Aubameyang. You shouldn't have bought Aubameyang. I'm sorry, you shouldn't have bought Aubameyang because you know what? You needed a center midfielder. You didn't need a striker at that point in time. Yes, the striker wasn't doing as well as they should. Like it wasn't, but you need a better center midfielder like a Partey. That's what you needed. You paid 50-something million for Aubameyang. You got a Partey for 40-something million and saved 12 million pounds. It's not rocket science. Look at Leicester, how they build their team. And some of those players were linked with us, but they weren't had the profile name, so we don't buy them. So that's my frustration, which is it's mismanagement. It's terrible management. Until you fix that, you won't fix what's on the field. So we could talk about this all night, frankly. And I'm just like, when I watch the whole thing unfolding, I'm sitting here thinking, it's not surprising. It's mismanagement. I see some of the comments say we should have bought why Zaha versus Pepe, and the fact that we bought Zaha because we're going to play all the money up front. That's not what I've heard. Emery wanted Zaha, management wanted Pepe. Younger, did well in France, over 20 goals, half for penalties, by the way. So we bought Pepe versus buying Zaha.
Sorry, can I just quickly address Christopher King's point in the chat? We've got the most expensive forward line and the weakest and least expensive defenses. Again, Christopher King, you need to do your research, son. We spent 27 million on a kid called Saliba. He ain't even in the country. He ain't even in our team. Yeah? Look at the prices we pay. 27 million, Gabriel. Yeah? 27 million, Kieran Tierney. Yeah? Cedric is on stupid money. And what the fuck are we doing with Cedric? I mean, I'm not joking you. It just makes no sense playing Xhaka when you've got a guy like Cedric. Yeah?
4-year contract. 4-year contract, by the way.
You're paying. David Luiz took a pace reduction last year. He's still getting good money. Holding now has been at the club for a number of years. Chambers has been at the club for a number of years. When you're at a club for 10 years, guaranteed your wages is good. So we ain't scrimping on our defenders, Mr. King, Mr. Christopher King.
Apollo, go back to King's comment. Apollo, go back to King's comment. Sorry, Tony. Apollo, go back to King's comment.
So
Apollo,
we've got a lot of money invested in defenders. But yet again, this clown is sent. How much did we pay for Kolasinac? Was it not about 30 million?
32.
No, we got him on a free.
Was he the free one?
Free.
But he's on 100 grand a week. Kolasinac. And instead of keeping him to back up the lack of a left-footed defender. We sent him away to Schalke. He's now got relegated with Schalke. He's coming back to us in the summer. Yeah. So we got all these defenders. Mavropanos tearing up trees in Germany right now. So your comment about 2 million coming from the Championship, yes, but he still gets paid a wage.
So Christopher, how much does the Leicester backline cost? How much does the Chelsea backline cost? You're talking about Man U with Maguire at 80 mil and Man City who can buy Diaz and buy Ake and buy the Stones of the world. But how much does Leicester backline cost? How much does Chelsea backline cost? Silva was a free. Zuma, I think, was about 30-something mil. It's the same concept, same construct. Let's not use City as the barometer or Man as the barometer. Think about other teams. Think about Chelsea. Think about Leicester. Our backline costs more than them. So we pay 45 million for Partey. We have paid 100+ million for a forward line, about 180 million. We pay over 70 million for our backline. If you add them all up, we have spent money. All this complaint about cranking and selling money, that's false narrative. Don't listen to the media and the pundits talking nonsense. How much money? How much is enough? He's spending all the revenues back into the club. That's a lot of money. We make over £40 million a year in revenues. To take the cost
so
out.
If you look at Leicester at the moment, right? So Leicester with Fofana, how much was Fofana? He was 2 million, and he's come in a ready-made fullback. And to be honest,
no, Fofana was 30-something mil. I think you're talking about what's his name from Man U was 3 million. Evans was 3 million. The kid from Turkey was 20-something mil. I think Fofana was a higher number.
No, James Justice.
Fofana was a partner for Saliba.
Justice was the really cheap fullback.
Yes.
But Leicester have built their defence without breaking the bank, and I mean they've also been able to generate. I mean, just look at their midfield as well. How much was Tielemans?
20-something mil, I think. He came on a loan from Monaco first, and then they translated over.
Yeah, he was an 8 million upfront cost. I think with another 12 million on top.
Yeah.
I mean, Tielemans is a top quality international, probably in the best national team in the world at the moment, and they've spent exactly 20 million on getting hold of him. They know how to spend their money wisely, and that's part of the problem with all the miscommunication at every tier of Arsenal at the moment is spending money wisely. I mean,
but you know what they do also?
Arsene Wenger, the money was spent well.
Yeah, they shop the championship. They shop the championship also. They just go to if you think about players like Maddison, for example, they shop lower league to get players. Yeah. They're not always looking for Premier League players. They look for, you know what? If there's an Ivan Toney who scores 30+ for Peterborough, almost 30 for Brentford, you know what? He must be a goal scorer. If he's scoring 29, 30 goals in 2 different leagues, let me bring him up to my team. Look where they got Vardy from.
James Vardy was it under 1.5 million from Fleetwood or somewhere like that, and he won them a Premiership. He genuinely won them a Premier League title.
Yeah.
Look at Conte and Mahrez. Cost little and nothing. Yeah. They buy low and sell high, and it's brilliant. Yeah. Why can't we get the same starting network? We don't have to even go that low as they're going. We don't have to go that low. We just got to stop wasting money. So this whole concept by Christopher and others saying we don't spend money, that's a false narrative. We don't spend money wisely. If I take my money and buy this depreciable asset, of course I won't have anything in return. Not only we spend poorly on assets that we can't get any money from. We have to give Mustafi away. We gave Gabriel away back to where he came from. We gave Ozil away for $40 million. We gave Sanchez away we put $40 million for because he went to Man U. We got Mkhitaryan and we gave it away for free. We give our money away for free. After 2 years of relying there's no return, we gave it away for free. So Arsenal fans who are saying we don't spend money, that is nonsense. We spend a lot of money, we just don't spend the money wisely. We are the worst spenders in the Premier League, maybe next to Man U, but even Man U assets. Pogba can get money back. Maguire can get money back. We can't get anything back at all. That's the anyway we buy free, we overpay in wages. We can't even sell them for anything. It's crazy. It's crazy, but anyway.
At least when Man United buy a black hole kind of player like Pogba, for instance, Man United, 107 million outlay on Paul Pogba. Only this season is he really starting to show his true class at United. I'm sorry though, but he made up his transfer fee in shirt sales in the first year anyway. So
Yeah,
they didn't really care so much about that. They knew that he'd come good eventually, and he has. But I mean, Arsenal players are depreciating in value and selling less shirts these days, which it pisses me off to say, because I hate seeing a team who I've respected start to fall through piss poor management.
And you know what they've done, Drew, is what they've done to reinvent that lack of shirt sales is they've done a very clever thing. Arsenal brought out 16 kits in 2 years. Adidas deal has brought 16 kits in 2 years. Yeah, people talk to me about the Pharrell Williams. Have you got the Pharrell Williams Arsenal kit? 16 kits in 2 years.
That's amazing.
I'm glad my kids don't support Arsenal right now.
Oh, it's a joke. That's where they've managed to go. You know what? We know we can make our money. We haven't got a star name like we used to do. So what we'll do is we'll just flood the market with different tops. And you just look at them, you're like, wow, that's a really nice top. Before you know it, it's on the shelf.
So here's what people complain about American owners and put money into the team. So think about it. Villa owners, I think a majority are American. Liverpool owners, American owners do not, as you guys notice, if you follow American sports, they're not put their own money in any team except when they initially buy the team. And a lot of teams are financed. It's the bank's money. It's not there. No smart businessman done that. You put your money in the market. No. You take somebody's money and buy an asset, and the interest on the debt, you pay by the principal, and you pocket the differential. That's how you run your business. You're not going to take your money and be trying to satisfy fans by pouring money in with no return. If you're the Kroenke, how much billions would you have lost now? City can do that because you have oil revenues coming in. Your owner, Mansour, is worth 17 billion. His family, my understanding, is worth about $1 trillion in total. He can afford to make a bad decision and buy Otamendi and get rid of him, or buy and get him, just replace him with Diaz. He can afford to do that. We can't afford that. We have to be very more prudent with our revenues, be thoughtful about our spending, and make sure we buy something, it's going to be worth something later, and it's going to produce on the field. We don't do that. So we could talk to a blue in the face about fans say they'll spend money. All this narrative with Keown and all these pundits I hear in TalkSport, because I listen to TalkSport a lot. The only smart sport person is Simon Jordan. You may hate him, and he may be elitist, but he's brilliant. I listen to him talk, and I say, you know what? A business person actually makes sense. Wow. It's amazing, because all these pundits who think they know finance and they know football at the same time, they know the football field, they don't know the finance component. Sorry, they don't. They don't get it. And so that's the problem we're running into, which is you blame Kroenke, you blame Kroenke. And he needs to get some of the blame because he's the one making determinations of who run our team. And right now, he's really bad at selecting the person. Because you know what? The best owners are the ones who leave you to run your team. You don't want a Jerry Jones to run your team. You want the people who are being selected, the technical directors, the football men to run your program. Leave them alone. He's not a hands-on owner. He's been duped in doing that, and it hasn't worked well. And I'm sure you run the rest of the business the same way as you wouldn't be a billionaire.
I think what you've just said, Bertram, is the nail on the head. You, I, and Drew are big followers of American sport and understand the business concept of sport ownership. If you don't understand the American concept of sport ownership, you're always going to be struggling to find synergy with owners who come from American sport. Once you understand, and you have to understand, the people who run the clubs in America, none of them are losing money. None of them. Even during the pandemic, none of them are losing money. Yeah? They have a different concept on sport ownership. And the way they finance deals, the way the leagues are structured, are to ensure that they never, ever are out of pocket. So they can go ahead and buy LeBron James and pair him up with Anthony Davis, or you can buy Antonio Davis and put him with Tom Brady, or put all these pieces together to make a Super Bowl team. But you ain't never going to be out of pocket.
No, Tony, you're confusing something. You ain't buying anybody. You've a barter system. I exchange human beings. I'm not buying anything. I'm spending £100 million on LeBron James. LeBron, you come to my team as a free agent, and I pay you a lot of money. And by the way, guys, if I make $10, you get 50%. If I make $5, you get 50%. If I make $2, you get 50%. So therefore, I can't lose. Because if I make 100 million, you get 50 million. If I make 10 million, you get 5 million. I can't lose. You're my main cost, so I cover you. I have some other operating expenses, I cover that. I have money in my pocket every single day. I will never lose. It's impossible for me to lose. And I can't get relegated, so my brand go up down the toilet. So I can't lose. There's no such thing as losing. And by the way, I don't buy 100 million players. I exchange an asset for another asset. My exchange may be poor, but it's still exchanging assets. Nothing, I'm not money in my pocket, that's not happening. Maybe once in a while I contribute $1 million or something, which is up, doesn't make any sense. But I don't spend £100 million or £200 million. That's not happening in America. LeBron James for somebody else, or is a free agent, I take him on board. There is no £100 million on my pocket. My business model is set up for me to be successful. And by the way, not only can I lose money from operating activities, my asset appreciated. I'm making money 2 ways. And by the way, nobody tell me I can take money at my club because it's my club, I own it. So you think about it this way, my operating model in my normal operations, I'm making money. My asset is going up. So if I said I make more money, I'm just printing money in my sports team. And I come to the UK and I say, you know what? They're gonna adapt my model. It makes a lot of sense. Sky money, global money, NBC money, man, money is pouring in. And then you realize, the people here are saying that's not how we operate here. You are out of your league here. We are a very friendly environment. We are a socialist system. We're not capitalist. We want everyone to do well. We have NHS and our healthcare system. It works for us. Don't come to my country, want to take money out. You take $1 million out. You put $1 billion in, take $1 million out. That's too much. And they're saying, what are you talking about? FSG will struggle eventually. I'm telling you. FSG for Liverpool will struggle eventually. Model doesn't work for them. So all those in the UK who are saying, you want to be prominent, you want to be the dominant league, it's not going to work because billionaire owners, most of them, unless it's oil money, not going to spend money and get a return on their asset. Not happening. Someone saying Dwayne Wade just bought himself to Utah Jazz. Why? Because he can't lose. It's a low-cost franchise. The fans sell out every game. I know. If you buy to any American team, you can't lose money. Because number one is going to appreciate. That's one. And number two, the structure, the business model is set up where the owner always make money. MLS is going to be the same way too. And they have salary cap, guys. So the money, not only do you have, it's locked in. I can only pay, look, I have £100 million to pay out. I'll give the top 3 players 90 and the rest 10. I'm still not going to lose. I don't have agents. The agents work for the players, not for that's another thing in the Euro, which makes no sense. So the agent represents the players and the team play them. That model is backwards. You work for me and somebody else pays you. How does that make sense? You have to charge them. We don't charge a model in football because everybody thinks that history works. No, it doesn't work. Today's game, a player gets sent off in the first 10 minutes and the team play with 10. How does that make any sense? That's backwards. That's dated. That's what kind of football is? That's dinosaur football. That's dinosaur model in terms of how you run a business. It makes no sense. 10 players for 80 minutes. Does that make sense to anybody? So I come to watch entertainment, and you kill the entertainment in the first 10 minutes of the game. I just might as well just go home. I came to watch a game and see competition between 2 equal teams. So take him off for 10 minutes, as I do in hockey to get a penalty. Don't take him off for 90 minutes. That is asinine. That's why you see me getting frustrated, because I'm used to the British model. I'm used to the American model. And you compare the models and say to yourself, they both got qualities you love, but neither of them are perfect. The American is perfect if you want to make money. The British is perfect if you believe in an egalitarian system, but none of them are perfect. Because one is elitist and the other one is archaic. So neither one works really well. But anyway, we could talk about that all day.
I think what's actually important to highlight there is you are wrong about one thing.
Which is?
It's both systems are elitist. It's just one's much more open about it.
No, because you allow relegated teams. That's what I'm saying. You're not as elitist. You have this whole concept of communism or socialism. This communism is extreme, social, which is the little man. I gotta give him a chance to come. It's a very narrow window. There's only 3 teams come up. I give them a chance to be successful. In the American system, nobody penetrates that barrier. There's a wall around the teams. You can't get in. In the European system, in the Champions League, even though you'll never crack and win the Champions League, because only Porto and a few teams and Ajax have done that. Things have changed more in the game. You never see the lower teams win anymore. But there's a possibility. So when it's 1 out of 100, if you bet 1 out of 100 versus 9 to 5 or even, you have a chance to win. In the American system, you have no chance to penetrate that system. So if you do like Donald Trump did and start his own football league, the teams there are so entrenched, you'll never be able to break them down, never be able to penetrate. Go play football in Canada because you won't do it in America because they're going to be one league, it's a monopoly. They have antitrust laws here which allow them to function in a monopoly. Not changing. In Europe, you have a chance. You can build your football team like Brett, what's his name, the Bournemouth did, and come from League 4, League 3, and come all the way up to the Premier League. You can't sustain it because you need more money, but you have a chance. You can't do it in America. It doesn't work.
All you have to do is look at MK Dons. MK Dons were formerly Wimbledon. Wimbledon were moved to Milton Keynes, and Wimbledon started from scratch. And now Wimbledon and MK Dons are in the same league, 2 tiers away from the Premier League.
Yeah. I mean, look, money talks into the UK. I hate to tell you this, but you have to adapt to a new world. The only thing that doesn't change is change itself. Everything else changes. We're in a different environment.
We've overdone our time. We've got a quick review of the next week's games, very, very quickly. But it's been interesting. I'm definitely interested in discussing more with Mr. Christopher King. I'd love for Christopher, if you can continue to follow us, and we'd love to have you on the show to air your views, because we're a very inclusive channel. We like to hear people's opinions, and it would be great to allow you the opportunity to come on board and talk and discuss some of those opinions with us. So this weekend, guys, we've got Southampton Leicester has happened. It's finished 1-1. Brighton Leeds, nothing game. Everton Aston Villa, interesting. Boys?
Villa.
You got Villa.
I say 1-1.
I'm going to go 1-1 because that's the best result for Arsenal. Not that it makes a huge difference, but but yeah, 1-1 I'd like to see. Manchester United Liverpool, huge game on Sunday.
I'm not answering this. It's like asking somebody you want their wife to sleep with. Not happening.
Excellent. I love that.
Man U 2-1. Liverpool has no defense. They only have one defender, and he plays on the left. The rest of them, Trent Alexander-Arnold, 2 center backs, are not good enough.
I'm going to go with Liverpool. The reason I think that is because Man United have got a midweek game. Although it means nothing, they still have a midweek game. Liverpool have had a week off to prepare for this game. This is massive in Liverpool's season. Man United don't need the 3 points. Liverpool are desperate for the 3 points. So this means more to them than it does to Man United. So I'm going to go Liverpool win 2-1.
So, Tony, I have a question for you. If when we play Spurs, doesn't it always matter?
It does.
Exactly. Man U Liverpool always matters. Always matters.
Yeah. I understand that.
And so
I just feel this game, Klopp has got... I think Klopp has got to get a win out of this game, and I think he can do it.
Okay.
I think United mentally will be prepared, but I think when they get there, they're gonna switch off some. I think he's gonna rest a couple of players because they had, they had a decent game on Thursday night. So I just feel that he's gonna want to put some. Greg G, you got it. You're in with me. Liverpool to win that one. But I just got a feeling Liverpool will win that one. West Brom Wolves. I'm going to go, another Midlands derby. That's a difficult. I'm going to go Wolves. 1-0 Wolves.
I'm going West Brom.
I'm going West Brom too. West
Yeah.
Brom 2-1.
Well, Wolves have been all over the place lately. You cannot predict a Wolves result at the moment.
That's right.
Wolves doesn't want to get hurt for the Euro. Wolves are very, very careful. The players don't want to get hurt for the Euro. It's Portugal's team. They don't care anymore. They are safe. I don't see them putting an effort in. So I'm
Okay,
going to go West
Crystal
Brom.
Palace, Man City. Drew?
Right, so a few weeks ago, I said when it was City versus Leeds, it was going to be 5-1 City. And this has got a little bit of that all over it, hasn't it? Joe, I actually think Pep's going to play a strong team tomorrow, so let's go 2-0 City, shall we?
I think Pep will play Jesus and Sterling, or just as good as those who play. So I think they'll win 3-1.
Palace are poor at the moment, and you've got to think, even with their second team, Man City will still win this. So I'm going to go 2-0 to Man City.
Before we move on, this is why I predicted such a heavy win against Leeds a few weeks back. But now Leeds are in a really good run of form since they beat us.
Yeah.
So
Bielsa wouldn't allow Leeds to
Fulham.
sit down and not play well. So Bielsa wouldn't allow that. Chelsea,
Fulham.
Who cares?
just get a cricket scoreboard, man.
I say 3-1. I don't think it's gonna be cricket. Actually, Fulham gives a good account of themselves. They almost beat Arsenal, but then again, you're right. Maybe
it's the way that Chelsea are just moving into gear at the moment.
They are,
but again,
Chelsea doesn't score goals.
But yeah, they got a centre forward who doesn't score goals. They're probably going to drop him because they need to keep their players for Wednesday night. So I'm going to go with 1-1 draw because I think Chelsea will drop the baton on this game, knowing that they need to do everything to get in that Champions League final. This game is not important.
No, it's important. They're only 3 points ahead of West Ham. They're only 3 points ahead of West Ham. They got to win the game.
But they need to win the Champions League. More important. This is the priority for Chelsea right now.
No, the priority is both. They got to stay in the Champions League. I disagree, Tony. They got to do both.
Guaranteed they come out with a weak team. Guarantee it.
Okay. They don't have a weak team, by the way. They don't have any weak team. Their players are interchangeable. Their players are interchangeable. They don't have weak players.
Their weak team is still probably slightly better than Everton.
Yes, it is.
Who ain't exactly bad.
They play Giroud. They play, what's the name, centre forward. Wasn't going to run.
Tammy Abraham.
They play Zuma. They have a bunch of players. They play Ziyech. They have a bunch of players. Tommy Abrams. They have a lot of players.
Havertz.
Yeah. That team they put on the field is better than Arsenal's. But anyway, we won't talk about Arsenal.
We'll see. Newcastle, Arsenal.
I am saying Arsenal 2-1 because Willock is not playing. No, Willock will win.
Drew?
Is it more important to win the Europa League or finish 9th in the Premier League?
We're not going to finish 10th and we won't win the Europa League. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Your only chance of getting into Europe next season is by winning the Europa League. Absolutely. I think you're going to play a slightly weaker squad against Newcastle, and I think they're going to turn you over.
I'm confused. What's the weaker squad now? Which squad is weaker, the bench or the one playing on the field?
No, you can.
No, so think about it. You have Martinelli.
You've got an under-11 team, surely.
No. You had Gabriel, David Luiz, were best centre half pairing. Bellerin was better than Chambers probably, and Cedric. Xhaka can't play left back, so we can play. I know who played left back. Only Partey is better as the rest of the starters. Saka is a very good player, yeah, but I don't see at the front like the team they're playing is better than on the bench. Seriously. Ryan is probably not much worse off than Leno. Same team.
So you are then probably better off playing the exact team you played the other night and then playing your second team.
No, we're not. We're better off. We got to play the youngsters. We're gonna. There are some replacements as Bertram has alluded to, like Luiz and Gabriel can instantly come in at centre half. But there are some players I think
I would start Nketiah, to be honest, but no, I think though I think Newcastle might just beat you.
Yeah,
I mean, Maximin and Wilson are back, so but their midfield is not that good. They poor in midfield. They're poor in midfield. We should win. And Balogun, somebody mentioned Balogun. We should play Balogun, but he won't start Balogun. That's too smart. That's a smart manager. He's not in that.
He's not going to do it, is he?
No, it's not his forte. It's not his forte. It's not what he does. He probably
Tottenham, Sheffield United, guys.
Nothing game.
I mean, for Andy's sake, as he's not here, I feel I should say Tottenham, but I'm just going to say Sheffield United because I want to see the world burn at the moment. So, no, Sheffield United, though, they had a great result last week, didn't they? So, who knows? The shackles of being relegated might have released them now. So,
little chance performances. It's a how many will Spurs score? I'm putting a 4 goals gap between Spurs and Sheffield United, guaranteed. It's 4 goals difference.
By the way, Mason looked like an interim manager when he managed against City the other day. He managed like an interim manager. He was out of his depth. But anyway, Spurs should win.
He was absolutely shitting bricks on that bench the other day. Pardon my language, but
why Ndombele was on the bench, I have no idea. Trying to play against a ball possession team, but anyway, that's for another day. And then Burnley, West Ham. Tough game for West Ham, actually. Burnley smoked Wolves the other day. They beat them 4, didn't they? And Burnley has their legs up. So West Ham, I don't know. Without Antonio and Lingard may not be fully fit. I don't know. We'll see.
No, they should still strong enough. Still strong enough. Look, West Ham are chasing Champions League. They're playing week to week. They have no midweek football. They'll get it done. They're doing the business at the moment. West Ham are on a roll. So expect West Ham to beat Burnley.
They didn't lose. What was the game with West Brom and West Ham? Didn't they lose? The West Brom? Or did they draw?
I think it was a draw.
Yeah.
Really speaking, I should be saying Burnley for my missus, but no, West Ham win. So I don't see Burnley beating West Ham with West Ham having something to play for still.
Yeah.
Burnley literally have virtually 0 to play for at the moment, so they don't have the motivation to go out and win that game.
Yeah, West Ham, they lost 2 key players, right? They lost Rice and they lost Antonio.
Yeah,
which has made their job much more difficult because they can't afford to lose key players. So
they can't, but they will still win. They will still win this one, guys. Okay. We come to the end of the show.
Go ahead, Drew. Because I need to rant again. I need to rant again.
You need to rant again. I kind of feel like you probably need some kind of hug.
I get one later.
It's been a very rough week for you Arsenal supporters. I feel bad for you.
I mean, it's fair to say, look, both of our clubs are in fixtures this week that could go either way. We're both in fixtures which are currently tilted by 1 goal. So good luck, my friend.
Yeah, because if City lose 3-2, they lose, don't they?
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, thanks for the positivity, Bertram. I'm still hoping to get 4 Premiership teams in the European finals.
Yeah. Enough is enough. So I think I think this is more around, obviously, I'm sure Tony must have introduced this, which is we came online tonight, even though there's a boycott in the UK by the Premier League and other sports team around the whole racism situation people are experiencing online. And obviously, look, it's tragic that human beings behave that way. Just in general, I'm not sure why, as a people, we can't have more empathy for our fellow man and treat people as human beings, because the only thing that differentiates us, frankly, is the color of our skin. And even that doesn't differentiate us because we interbreed, frankly. So we have people of mixed races. So we get together as individuals. We only are here for a short period of time. Why don't we just try to maximize us as a people, what we do and how we do it? treat each other as human beings, not as other human beings. And this whole concept of hate because you've lost a football game and you've been bet on the game, that's your problem. Don't bet on it then. Don't hate somebody because they're human beings, they make mistakes, they're fallible, they're not perfect. And I'm not sure why people hate on people because of who they are, whether it's your race, religion, sexuality. It makes absolutely no sense to me. So the concept of enough is enough is a great concept, but I just think, I've always said this, frankly, which is, if someone called me a derogatory name, I would just like, you know what, you can talk all you want. Just don't cross that line. You in my face, you touch me is a whole different ball game. But sometimes that's easier said than done, right? Because somebody disrespect you, you're going to want to react to it. And they do it online anonymously for a reason, because that's a way of hiding them who they are and who they really are. So the issue is more about them than about you. So treat people fairly in any walks of life, whether you're a manager, you're a boss, your neighbor, your family. Treat them like you'd like to be treated as an individual. And let's basically just stop the hate. Doesn't make sense, waste of time, waste of energy, and does you no benefit and only does someone harm. So, be fair and treat people as human beings.
My views on this are simply that, we've expended a lot of energy in the last 2 weeks trying to abolish the Super League. The powers that be have come down heavily on those clubs, and as been alluded to by a few people, the efforts that have been made to sanction the clubs, if only they had used those same energy to dispel racism in sport, we'd be in a different situation today. And I'm in agreement with, all of those who have decided to come offline, because, again, online abuse is something which I feel could be stopped by the organizations which host online interaction. Your Facebooks, your YouTubes, your Twitters, your Snapchats, etc., etc. Those organizations are not doing enough. And therefore, my feeling is, I hope they sit up and listen to this call and will do something about stopping this, unprecedented case of online abuse that pervades society today.
I mean, yeah, the past few weeks have been truly shocking, the amount of effort that we've been able to put in to stopping a football league from ever taking place. Yet we still haven't been able to tackle the misogyny and racism that still exists amongst football, and it's found a real prevalence through social media. Platforms need to be taking responsibility and accountability for the way they allow people to behave on them. Now, I take accountability for the way I act towards people, the same as everyone else does in this world. Social media needs to do more to make people face up and take account of who they are and what they do. You can't just, because you're sat behind a keyboard, you cannot say something that alienates, discriminates, and worst of all, dehumanizes another person. Social media needs to get on top of this, and it needs to fix its problems.
Chris is saying the social media companies are avoiding what needs to be done. Yeah, but they also allowed Trump, because he had 70 million followers, to do what he did, right? So unless you hit somebody in the bottom line, whether it's by regulation and or by fines, and the fines are so pervasive that they could destroy your company, then what's the incentive for them to change? You have to, the UK came up with a report saying there's no institutional racism in the UK, right? That's a government-sponsored commission that came out with a report. So then we don't have a problem. The fact of the matter is that you're right about the rallying cry from all corners of Europe about the Super League. government, private institution, the normal fan on the street. That was major. It's just a super league, just playing football with some money attached to it. It wasn't degrading humanity and human beings and trying to destroy human beings and belittle them and ostracize. It wasn't that. So you can see where people's priorities lie. And it tells you then why you're in the situation you're in, which is in life, you want to fix any problem, don't fix the symptoms, fix the root cause. So look at the root cause of the problem, you want to fix it. Don't fix the symptom, because like somebody's saying you're going to solve gun violence by getting rid of all the guns. Yeah, that's part of it, but who's making the guns? They get rid of the guns. Somebody has to be making the guns. If you don't make the guns, you can't shoot anyone. In the UK, knives are a problem, I agree, but you don't have the same volume of massacres that we have in the US, where we have these shootings every single week, because you have gun manufacturers here. If you can't get access to the guns, you can't create the crime. Now, that's not the root cause. The root cause may be poverty, it may be education, it may be a combination of things, but you're not focused on the main thing. So in the whole thing about racism is, gotta fix the root cause, figure out what the root cause and fix it. It's not just a social media company. They're just receiving information in. Yes, they can help, because they provide a platform for the information to be disseminated, but they're not the root cause. The root cause is societal. So you have to find a way to fix the root cause to then fix the problem. Otherwise, it's not going to change. And you go to certain countries, like you go to Eastern Europe, you go to the Croatia of the world, it's very, very prominent. You come to the UK, it's there, but sometimes it's covert, not as overt in some places. Out there in social media, but it's very, very covert, can't be seen. And frankly, the way I view life is, I prefer to see it than you hide it. Because if you hide it, I can't approach it, I can't address it. I don't know how to respond to it. If you manage it really well, you have it in your corporate environment where I can't see it, and you are really not allowing me to get access, but it's very managed to do so, then how am I going to be able to get access and be able to bring myself and let myself generate wealth? You control all the different environment in which I get access. So people focus on the racism and the very optical racism that you can see, but they don't realize there's much more damaging racism in society you operated in that really disenfranchise you, but you can't really see it. And so you therefore can't address it. And it's institutionalized. So that report in the UK was very disappointing, because I do follow UK politics and what happens there in Europe. It's very disappointing to see it. I heard one of my senators here from Alabama, who's black, who's Republican, said there's no racism in the US. You just then stop the conversation. You stop the conversation. It's not worth having. It's a waste of time. So hopefully we as a people can do better, because we are better than what we're doing today. And for that,
thank you, guys.
Have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great weekend, by the way.
Pleasure always, guys.
Bank holiday weekend here in the UK. Hope everyone enjoys themselves on Bank Holiday Monday. Yeah, have a great time. Thank you very much, Drew, for joining us and staying on this extended episode tonight. Bertram, have a great time.
My last comment in, hopefully by next Friday, Arteta will resign, but that's a hope. Have a good weekend. Have a good weekend.
Okay, guys.
Bye, guys.